how you can do the code development onto GitHub branches. So understand we have the code we developed in the last video. So say your team member wants to work on this project and onto the new feature branch. So since we have on this computer, so what we can do is we can go to PyCharm project and find the package example, then remove that into the trash. So once you have done that change it, so we can remove that from the list. So that basically remove this whole project from this computer. So say your team member need to work on this from a fresh start from the new feature. So what you can do is go to the remote Git repository, then copy the URL. So once you come back to here, then you can go to version control. So you can copy this code over by clone it. So once you have this project over, you can say that you'll have the biology folder, but it does not have resource folder because we are in default master branch. So if I switch that into a new feature from the remote, my local branch does not have the new feature, so I can pull this one out by click on checkout. So now my code branch is switched to a new feature, so you can see the resource folder is basically pulling here. Also we have the utility module in the biology package is also appearing here. So the goal of this video is just showing you how we can instead hard code this, we can import these elements from the CSV file. Since we pulled the file from the GitHub, and so we have to reconfigure the Python interpreter. So once that's being done, so we can start coding that. So we know the load data function is in utility module, and it's in the biology package. So we can, from the biology utility, we can import load data. So the other thing we need to do is to look for the path so we can navigate into resource folder and get a file for biology.csv. So the way how we can do that is we can import os path as path. So we can get this functionality in, so we can have a file name. So we can save path.dir name, so that basically find the directory name. And this is something called a private variable file. That's basically is the name the current file. The find the directory basically is the animal, but you have to go one level up to biology, then you can go to resource folder, then link to biology.csv. So we can basically do a path.join, and we can do dot. That basically means that going to parent folder. Then we can navigate into res. We can navigate to biology.csv. So we can put those two together. So that's a directory of biology, go to the resource, then with the biology.csv. So now we can basically do self members. That would be instead hard coded. We can do load data with a file name, and we're going to put a category as birds. So we can comment this one out. So the other thing what we can do is we basically need to copy those into other two modules. So let's go to memo, we can copy this. So we can also go to plants, copy that into flowers. So we can incorporate this new functionality into memos, and we can comment this one out, but we have to call this one as memos. So we can also do the same thing for flowers, comment it out, and we're going to paste this one in. So we're going to call this one as the flowers. So as you can see, the advantage is that we don't have to go track all those different Python file. We can just modify the CSV file, then we will be able to get all the information in there. So let's try to run this test example. And since we put the stuff in, so the configuration running is not there. So we can go to Python, and we're going to select the test example. And click on this, then we can start run it. So you can see everything looks fine. So instead of hard code this, I can basically say I'm going to add monkey, and maybe I will add also lily into the flower category. So I also want to add a whale, but I don't want to add for birds and flower, so I have to add 2 commas. Basically, that means that has just 3 elements in a row. So once I do this, then if I run it, you can see lily is adding to the flower, and also it's a monkey and whales that adding to mammals. So this is really a great advantage of modifying the CSV file rather than modify the Python file. So we have those 4 files being modified, so we have to commit the changes, and we can right click and go git and commit. So we can give, say, complete a new feature code. So once you commit, and all this file need to be put into local repo, and you can see all this file name converting to black color. So that means change has been made onto a local Git repository. So the next thing you need to do is to say whether that's going to be modified onto the remote. So let's take a look at the biology folder, and you can see in animals and birds that does not include anything, and in the new feature branch. So if you want to put all the stuff into into the remote Git repository, you can right click and you're going to say I'm going to go to there, then push this one onto remote Git repository on GitHub. So those 4 files are basically noted as changed, so you can push it. So once you pushed it, then you refresh it, and you can see the file has been modified with the new changes. So this is how you're going to do the Git branch development. And please understand the R3 entity, your local repo, remote Git repo, and your local project. So you have to commit the changes, and before you can upload that into the remote Git repository. So you can switching back and forth between different branches. So that would be it. Hope you enjoyed the video.